innovator. I am an entrepreneur, award-winning artist, speaker, award-winning published author of 8 books, a national multi-award-winning published photographer. And I've just been blessed to share my story and my passion and light all across the United States. I am the CEO and owner of Focus on Fabulous, which is an umbrella company for several companies. Focus on Fabulous was originally established in 2007 when I started my photography business. And carrying that vision, I launched my digital and print publication, Focus on Fabulous magazine, in 2015. We just hit our 6-year mark and are on our 25th issue. It's finishing this year, so I'm super excited about that. I have a podcast, wherever you see podcasts. I think I'm on like 13 platforms, Focus on Fabulous as well. And then during the COVID pandemic, I started bringing this support and transparency to businesses and launched Focus on Fabulous Business Solutions. So all encompassed, Focus on Fabulous is a creative company that inspires, connects, supports, and, just celebrates business stories, their successes and their strengths, and transforms them and their businesses into wherever it is they're trying to go.
My goodness. I'm already worn out. Man.
I'm sorry.
You're just so involved. Now, what do you do for fun? I mean, I hear how you keep busy, but no. Don't answer that.
I write and I paint, so I do something creative. Okay. I'm just a creative person. So for fun, I've been dabbling in painting, learning different techniques. I write a lot, and so that's kind of what I do.
Okay. Well, cousin, bring us up on the screen, please. Let us take a look at some pictures of the lovely Miss Michelle Bryan, and as fabulous you have heard is the story of her origin and the title of her businesses. Apple has the iPhone, the iMac, and McDonald's has the Mac Burger, the Mac Chicken, the Mac Fries. Miss Michelle has the Fabulous as her beginning. So let's continue on down and take a look at one of her Facebook pages. And on that Facebook pages, you'll see a number of people. Tell us, why did you use this particular photo for your Facebook page, Miss Michelle?
Well, I moved to Charleston in 2012 with my then boyfriend, now husband, and so we are a blended family, and family is very important. We are not only blended, but we're empty nesters, so all of our kids are grown doing their own thing, and we don't get to see them as often, and family is very important. So I just created this little image here that has us and all of our kids in various aspects.
Okay.
So,
and
yeah.
Tell us about this business. Tell us, how did you get started, and why did you start this business?
Well, I believe in having several different streams of income. I think last time I counted, I had like 14 different streams of income. And I don't mean that to say that I'm making, $1 million on each stream, but it's nice to get an email that says, we sent you $3 or so-and-so, it all adds up. And so one of the things that I did is go through Society 6 and some others and make products with some of my photography that people can purchase. Everything from mouse pads and pictures to bar stools and koozies. I mean, if you name it, it's probably on there. And it's really nice to know that somebody liked an image of mine well enough not only to put it on another product, but to buy it and have it in their personal collection.
Okay,
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
that was it.
Oh, okay. Now, with this particular business, what made you decide to start this business?
Well, like I said, I was just I was looking for other streams of income, different ways to make money while you sleep, so to speak. And that was a way to utilize some of my gifts and talents and do that. And it's been nice because it doesn't require a lot of time and effort. I just upload the pictures and pick the products that I want, and it's done in that specific instance.
Okay. All right. We have another picture of some people, and we see them holding, I think, something. So why don't you tell us about the people and what it is that you and some of them are holding?
Okay, so this is my publication. This is our last issue, was the summer issue. We have another one that came out yesterday. And there we have Jerry Mason. She is a breast cancer survivor and just an all-around energy person. She has an amazing story. We have Robin Nazon, who is on the cover. She was our cover model. And she is with Legal Shield and does CPR, and she's just amazing. Behind me is Priscilla Holmes, who is a travel advisor. And I'm telling you, if you, especially now with COVID and traveling, she's got the inside scoop on who's doing what and what you need and all that stuff. And then Katrina Johnson. I've known Katrina since I moved to Charleston. She was one of my first friends and is my business coach and mentor and advisor. And she's just been very supportive. And then Christine Schaefer showed up at my very first anniversary for the magazine, and she does a lot of things in the state of South Carolina for children with childhood cancer. And she's an amazing woman. So this was at my social for locals in the area who have subscribed to the magazine. We get together locally and we network and we, motivate each other, and we just have kind of a little party. And I have had anywhere from 200 to, these 6 people. So it's always exciting, and there's always somebody neat to meet. So the socials have been really awesome.
Okay, now let's digress for a few minutes and educate some people on who might have thoughts about starting a magazine. First of all, how did you get started with this magazine?
Well, it was actually a whim. Like I said, I started my photography business in 2007, and I moved here from Florida, and I was a CNA in Florida. And when I moved here, I was just going to transfer my license, but South Carolina wouldn't honor my nursing license because I didn't actually attend a school. So I was trying to figure out what to do, and my husband said, do something with your photography. And that's when I met Trina, and we started really promoting my photography business. And I was doing some photo shoots for different people. I've been in your previous publication. You've featured some of my work, and which was how I met you. And I did an image that I really, really loved, and I thought, gosh, this would make a really nice magazine cover. And I said, you know what? I'm a writer. I've been a graphic designer. I'm already a photographer. I should just start a magazine. Those were literally my exact words. I should just start a magazine. Not realizing everything that it entails. I mean, the programs, the distribution, the finding content, it's a lot of work. But in going back through the last 24 issues, I have been so blessed to have met some of the people that I've met, hear their stories, share their stories, and just, expose how wonderful they are to the world, kind of toot their horn, because as women, we don't typically toot our horn. So it's a publication like no other, and it's gotten great response, and I'm just chugging along.
Okay, just chugga, chugga, chugga. So now, if
Right?
I'm understanding here, we're saying that you already were a photographer, so that meant you had skills to take your own photos. But now
Yes, sir.
you desire to do something more with the photos and determined that the best thing for you to do at that point is to start a magazine. So you began the process of educating yourself, talking with different people, and finding how exactly it takes and what exactly it takes for you to start this magazine. So you started the magazine. Now, from that, how did you determine who was going to be your audience, who you were going to focus on?
Well, I knew that I wanted it to be women. I knew that I wanted it to be sharing and exposing women and their stories. And, there's a lot of empowerment in hearing somebody else's story. It motivates us, it lifts us up, it encourages us. And it's therapeutic for the reader and the writer. And I was kind of struggling with getting the content and finding people interested. And I actually had a meeting with you one time, and you gave me a really good piece of advice. You said get involved with some groups that are more like your target audience. And so I started networking it more instead of some of the BNIs, more some of the women-owned business organizations and stuff like that. And I started learning some of these women's stories. And I'm not just a women in business magazine. I mean, I've had stories of domestic violence, stories of eating disorders, just, struggles and successes. And no matter what we talk about in the magazine, it always has a silver lining. It always has a positive focus. And I think, especially now, we are in a world bombarded with negativity, and we need to know that there is, something worth waking up for in the morning.
Very true. Now, let's take a look at this particular picture, and then I want you to tell us, whoa, what's going on here?
All right, that is one of my favorite pictures. That was our last year's winter issue. It was one of our model shoots, and I really wanted a picture that showed the diversity of the publication. So when these ladies were there, I gathered them all up. We have the little girl in pink hair is early 20s. She's in college. And they're all ages and sizes and races, and that's what Focus on Fabulous is about. It's about showcasing women of diversity in all different areas, because we all have something to bring to the table, and we all have something amazing about us. And actually, one of those ladies has since passed away. So it's a very, very special image to me.
Wow. What do you think is the uniqueness of your magazine in a town full of other magazines? How does Michelle Focus on Fabulous stand out from the crowd?
Well, I can tell you, when I started researching the magazine, I spent hours, several days a week at Barnes & Noble, just pulling magazines off the rack and going through them and looking at them and learning about their content and checking their layout and what their ultimate vision was. And there's nothing out there like what I have. Most of them focus on beauty and fashion and, Hollywood or, your home, but they don't really talk about us as people. And we are all here on this earth with a purpose and a light. And that's what I do through the publication, is I shine light on, why you are amazing. Tell the world why you're amazing. I think that, we should tell people who we are and how amazing we are while we're here. And, rather than, and we don't talk about ourselves because we think that it's arrogant or whatever, but I used to tell my kids, you can be confident and not be cocky. And I have talked to women who have said, I don't write, or nobody cares about my story. And it's a shame that we feel that way. We really need to, every day we wake up, we have an opportunity to make an example, set an example, leave a legacy. We're not promised tomorrow. So just share your voice with the world. I can't stress how important that is.
Okay. And in this final picture, tell us what's going on with all of these red fab bags.
Well, okay, in the upper left corner, first of all, we had this event at Time Well Spent in Somerville, which is no longer. But that in the bottom right corner is Christine Schaefer, the lady who I mentioned earlier, who does things with Christine's Joy for Kids, Founding Hope for kids in the state of South Carolina with cancer. And I decided for Mother's Day, we needed to do something for these cancer moms. They spend 24/7 taking care of their child, and they don't do anything for themselves. And so I got with other small businesses and women-owned businesses, and I said, I want to make these bags for these ladies to give them. And so Christine and I, we scheduled a tea for these ladies to come and have a nice afternoon away and give them a gift. And the lady in the bottom, she's the only mom that showed up, but Christine drove hundreds of miles to hand deliver every one of these bags to these moms. And the businesses that donated them went above and beyond. I mean, we had homemade bread, we had pamper products, we had inspirational books with just stories that'll just, put on your cape and make you just go. I mean, they were packed full, and it was such a wonderful, wonderful thing to be able to do for these moms who do for their kids every single day. And so it was kind of my way of not only supporting other businesses, because I'm a huge collaborator in small business. I think if we all work together, we can accomplish more than just one person by ourselves. So I was able to feature all of these businesses and bless these moms in the process.
Wonderful, wonderful. And as you said earlier, it was my privilege and pleasure meeting you and talking with you and sharing ideas, because as you said, at that time, I was still doing, and still am now, doing my fashion and beauty magazine, which was an outgrowth of my fashion and beauty expos that I used to do. So now, shifting gears, let's talk about your company, Biz Solution. Tell us about Biz Solution.
Okay, well, Fabulous Business Solutions started during the pandemic. We quarantined, if you remember, in March of 2020, and we were all stuck at home for weeks and weeks and weeks. And my spring issue had just come out in April, was coming out in April. So I had time that I wasn't, I couldn't go out and meet people or network or anything. So I decided to put my money where my mouth was and go through some of my social media, my websites, kind of update, things that you just don't have time to do when you're busy running a business. And I realized in doing that, because I've got 5 websites and 3 Facebook pages and some groups, and I mean, it's a lot. And so I just went through one by one, and I realized there are probably other businesses out there who need that kind of help and support. They've got images that don't work on their website, or links that are corrupt, or whatever. And so I just threw out in a couple of forums, what do you need help with in your business that you think would get you to the next level? And then I just started responding. And some people were like, I need a website, or I need a cart put on my website, or I need a logo, or, whatever. And so if I don't do it myself, I outsource it. And so I have women that, again, I'm keeping employed. I'm keeping income coming in for them that are doing things for these businesses. And that's really how Fabulous Business Solutions came to be.
Okay.
It was just out of my own desperation.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't characterize as a desperation. I would characterize it more as someone who cares and who want to help other people advance their ambition to be in business. Just as, if my memory serves me correct, your husband encouraged you to go into business. And sometimes
That's
people want to
true.
go, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. And
yeah,
sometimes people want to go into business, but they just need a little nudge. They need a little hand up. And sometimes,
right.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I said that's right. You're right.
Yeah. So, what kind of way were you able to get the resources? I know you said if you didn't do it, like do a website as example, you would contract that out. How did you go about identifying the services that you yourself couldn't provide, but that was needed or requested?
Well, like I said, if somebody reached out and said, I just got my life coach license and I need a logo. Well, I'm a graphic designer, so I spend some time, I talk to them, I figure out what they need, what their colors, branding colors, and a lot of business owners don't understand the impact of brand colors and things like that. So I'm able to kind of brainstorm and even consult to a certain degree with them and find out exactly what they need to create something. Now, I don't build websites, but I have somebody who does, and I just kind of looked at other people saying, like when I put out that post, what do you need? If somebody would say, I need a website, and somebody else would go, I build websites, I'm like, hey, let's talk. I can, bring you business for this price if you build my websites for my people for this price or whatever. And so I was able to kind of construct a team, if you will, of people to do some of the things that I don't.
Okay. Now, it sounded to me, and I want you to help me. We have requests for certain types of services, or maybe even for some products. We find out who can provide those services and products, and we say to them, why don't we barter? Why don't you offer a service or product, and then in that same interest, I have someone who maybe can offer you some services that you might need. So in the good old-fashioned way of one hand helping the other, you determine that that's a way in which you can help people who are trying to get their business established or to continue growing their business. Does that sound almost like what was going
That's
on?
that's pretty that's pretty accurate. Like I said before, I'm a huge believer in collaboration,
Okay.
and we are more powerful together than we are individually. Mostly because we all have different talents and different things to bring to the table. So I can be working my tail off and doing everything I can do and still not be at my full capacity because there's some things, and everything I know, I have taught myself or learned how to do. Um, and some people are that way and some people aren't. Some people just don't have the time to invest or whatever. And so I love being able to collaborate with others. When I first had the first 3 years or 4 years that I had the magazine, I always had my social at a local Italian restaurant. And her business has just gone crazy from people who just came and go, I never knew this place was here, and we would, they would order off the menu. They would, it was kind of just a meeting place. And it really helped her business as well as my business. And I really believe in the power of collaboration.
Okay. Now, let me continue on with this saga. Your service starts with, what do you need? Let me help you get it. And then, in order to keep the costs down, let's see what you have that you can offer to someone who can provide you with a service that you want. So we got that. Then I heard you saying you do some mentoring. So I can help you find what you need, and now I can offer mentoring. How is that done, and what is that?
Well, a lot of times, small business owners, they have the vision, but they don't know how to get to where what they see. And I have been told that my zone of genius is I have really great ideas. And so a lot of times in our brainstorming or collaborating or coaching or mentoring, I just listen to their pain points, what they're struggling with, what they need help with. And then I throw out a couple ideas out there. Some of them will work, some of them won't. If I can't do it or don't know, I have, people who are experts in that, like Trina Johnson, for example. She used to be a lawyer, so she knows all about what legal documents and forms and whether you want to be an LLC or a sole proprietor and how to get your 501(c) and all of that. So, if nothing else, I can at least refer you to somebody who can get you the answers that you need.
Okay. What other services is included in Fabulous Business Solution? We've named 3 so far. Are there
Okay,
other
so
services?
we do the business brainstorming, graphic design in any capacity, whether it's design a logo, a brochure, whatever. If it's a graphics, we can do it. Websites and blogs, we do everything from just your basic landing page all the way to putting an email pop-up and putting you a store so people can buy your products. We have an SEO person who knows about keyword search and all of that. We can set you up with an email platform so that you can start keeping contact with your customers. As an author myself, I deal with a lot of authors on, I want to write a book. I don't know where to go. And if you're interested in self-publishing, I have just since Fabulous Business Solutions started a year and 3 months ago, I had a lady, she had a book and it was in a Word document. And we took it from that Word document to selling on Amazon. I designed the cover. We did all the formatting, made her an author page, got her all set, everything on Amazon, and now she's selling. So I do a lot of stuff for authors. We do editing, formatting, book cover designs, all of that. And again, if you're just getting started and you want, you need a business plan, you need to know what kind of platform, like I said, an LLC or a sole proprietorship, or, I have somebody that can answer those questions for you. We do, you know, pretty much anything that you need. We can, if I can't do it, I can find somebody who can. It's really about taking that vision and bringing it to life.
Okay. Now tell me about that podcast. What is that?
Well, the podcast came as a result of a book. Well, I started just because I write. I just started writing little positive notes every day. Just, this is going on, this is going on. Just things that were pondering through my mind. Like one of the most popular ones is, what is your green eggs and ham? And it talks about Dr. Seuss's book, I do not like green eggs and ham. I will not eat green eggs and ham. And then he finally takes a bite and he's like, that's not bad. I kind of like green eggs and ham. And of course, me being focused on fabulous and putting a positive spin on it, I said, sometimes it's okay to try something that you think you won't like because it may end up being a good thing. And so little stories like that, just kind of little tidbit anecdotes, little messages. And so when I compiled 50 or so of them, so I would put them on Facebook kind of as a blog, and then I compiled them into a book. And it just, most of them are less than 10 minutes. They're about 3 to 7 minutes, so it doesn't take a lot of time, but it's something that you can just listen to quickly and be encouraged and inspired and motivated.
Okay. Tell me about the speaker. What kind of
Oh my
business are you
goodness.
doing with that?
Okay, well, um, I tend to do a lot more emceeing and teaching than I do actual speaking my story. I have done all of them and I love all of them. Um, when I speak, it's usually in relationship to one or some of my books because I am a nonfiction writer. I write about things that I know, things that I think are relevant. Um, I've never really been a novel or a fiction person. So a lot of times people will bring me to, share my story. I have spoken for the American Business Women's Association. I've spoken for Mothers of Prayer groups. I've spoken, just on different topics. Now being a business owner, I talk about the power of branding and giving your brand a voice that's speaks out. And I teach a Canva 101 class just for people who are just getting into Canva, and I guess because I have this big personality, I get called to MC, and I love doing that. It's so much fun, and I get to meet a lot of people, and so I really enjoy it.
Well, it sounds to me like you really enjoy it. So just keep on enjoying. Okay, now we've gone through the gamut of different types of businesses that you own. Now, what I want to do is I want to circle back and I want to talk about what someone who is aspiring to go into business need to understand. And since you have so many different businesses that you've already started, everything that I need to know, you have probably already encountered and done. So now, let's start with the first thing, financing. How did you finance your businesses? And I'm not asking for dollar amounts. I'm just
I understand.
asking how.
Well,
Personal
I'm
loans.
different when it comes to finances because I did start this, on the request of my husband. I've always been an independent, self sufficient woman, so I didn't want to not only take the risk of our personal finances being involved, but I didn't want to feel like I wasn't contributing and I was just taking, taking, taking. So when it came to my photography, I used every free platform there was out there, and I took the money that I made and put it back into it. Um, the magazine was a whole different thing because printing and paper and everything is expensive. I can say in all of my businesses, I've never taken out a loan. I have never taken out any kind of investors or credit or anything like that. I do have a fairly small limit, under $1,000 credit card that if I needed and I knew I wouldn't be over, $1,000 in debt. But other than that, everything that I make, I put back into the business. So, like when I started the magazine, I did commemorative issues and I did pre-orders for them where people could actually order. This is the first issue of Focus on Fabulous, and my mentor Trina Johnson actually suggested that to me, and I was like, nobody's going to buy that. It's a brand new magazine. Nobody knows anything. And she goes, what can it hurt to try? So I sent out emails, and a lot of it was friends and family who were just supporting me. I think it was $25, so it wasn't a huge investment, and but it was enough to cover the first run of the issue without anything coming out of my family household income. And so that's pretty much the way that I have done my business is if I don't have the money, I can't spend the money. I have to figure out another way. And truthfully, there's a lot of free resources out there for getting your brand and getting your name. And maybe that's why I have good ideas with other people and how they can, because that's really what it is how do I tell people about my business without it costing me a fortune. Um, and so that's what I tell them is, utilize your social media And, do you know what platform you should be on? Because as a creative person, I don't need to really be on Twitter. I only use LinkedIn if I'm like recruiting for people, because people don't really, that's not the audience for my business. And so I try and help people figure out that kind of stuff. Because you could be posting on Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook, 4, 5, 6 times a week and getting nothing, and that's not the platform you're supposed to be on because of your industry. So
All
just
right.
little things like that.
Next thing I want to know, and you've mentioned it a couple of times because you have a attorney to help you, to help people. But now let's talk about Michelle. What is your legal organization structured as? As an example, there are basically 3 types of legal structure that I'm aware of. We have the sole proprietor, we have the partnership, and then we have a couple of partnership, limited, general on the partnership. Then we have the corporations, and then we have the C Corp, the S Corp, the LLC Corp, and the LLP Corp. Of those, which one do you use and why?
Well, I wasn't sure, like I said, when I first decided to legalize and, start paying taxes and all of that. And so I did consult with Trina, and I am my employee ID number with the IRS is registered as a limited liability corporation, but because I file my business taxes through my personal taxes, I use an S Corp form. And I have a licensed CPA who advises me on, what taxes I have to pay when, what I need to do. It's like, oh, you're taking a loss, but I didn't even know I could claim my cell phone until a couple of years ago. So getting the right people to advise you is huge, because again, one, there could be resources or perks or credits out there that you are not even aware of, just because it's not your expertise. And pretty much it's worth it if you have to pay. I mean, most people give a first consultation for free, but if you have to pay somebody to get the advice, it's worth it to because you're going to save money in the long run. So.
All right. I feel like I should pay you because you've just given me so much information from the fabulous Biz Solution, but because you and I are friends and because I don't have it, we'll just say, I'll send you a copy of this tape and you
Great.
could market it, and I'll take all of this great information that you're giving me as a trade-off. What?
I don't mind at all, and I actually have been smacked on the hand many times for, just giving away too much for free. And it's just my nature. It's just my heart. Like I said, I'm the oldest of 8 children. I'm just naturally that person. And so it took me a while to respect my worth and my value, because I just think, if I know it, everybody knows it. And that's not to say anything negative towards anyone else. I've just been very gifted and very blessed. I mean, and I was telling somebody the other day, they were over here and they said, what legacy do you want to leave? And I said, when I was 18 years old, I had 3 scholarships. I had already had work published. I'd already, won awards for art. I had all this talent and I had no idea what to do with my life. So, how do you decide at 18 what you're going to be when you grow up for the rest of your life? And I pretty much did nothing. I just kind of was a regular adolescent, young adult, and I got married at 25, and then I was a military mom. And I told her, I said, God gave me so much talent and intellect, and I just want to be able to say I used every ounce of everything you gave me, and hopefully somebody benefited from it.
Well, I'm sure that somebody did. And of course, as you and I and others very well know, there are different types of entrepreneurs. There are social entrepreneurs. There are for-profit entrepreneurs. There are those who are not for-profit entrepreneurs. So from time to time, you're going from the different entrepreneurs' style, and so that's quite all right. It's okay from time to time to give something back and not expect something in return, because we all at some point have gotten something that we didn't have to pay for. I mean,
Right.
that's just the way it is, and thank the
We all start
Almighty. Huh?
someplace.
Yeah,
We
we
all
do.
start somewhere.
We do.
We're all a work in progress, and we're all learning. I want to turn off my video for 1 second so that I can grab something to show you. It'll take me 1 quick minute.
1001, 1002, 1003, 1004.
Okay, 3 minutes.
Okay.
So I have this book that I wrote, and it's for businesses. I say for business, but it's 10 effective ways to rise up, aim high, stand tall, and be outstanding in the field. And it is 10 little entrepreneur tips. It's available on Amazon, and I basically took. Where'd you go?
I'm right here.
Oh, well, your picture's gone. Oh, there
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
I basically took what I learned as a new entrepreneur, some of the questions that I had, and wrote this little tiny, it's very thin, you can see, little book. And it's kind of meant to be a resource, I call it the little bee book because there's a little bee, and every chapter is like, be honest, be different, be positive, be patient. And it's just little inspirational advice on getting started. And one thing that I do talk about, and we talked about it earlier, was be a backer. And that's about be willing to collaborate. Just because you and I are both do a magazine doesn't mean we can't work together. Because your audience is totally different than mine, but we can help each other out as we have. And it makes, then I'm not only giving my audience access to you and your wonderful publication, but vice versa. But beyond that, we're learning from each other. We're building a relationship. And ultimately, that is the key in business. It's not about making money. It's about building relationships.
There it is. There it is. All right, Miss Michelle, I hate to say this, but I'm having too much damn fun. But still, time has gone, and as they say in the business, where has the time gone? But look at here. Before we close, a couple of things. One, I got to bring you back because there's two other things that I need to ask you. I've asked you about the finance. I've asked you about your legal structure. But I need to ask you about your organizational structure. I need to ask you about your marketing. And I need to ask you about your management style of your organizations. But we're not going to talk about that today. But I ask you, can I bring you back in the short future so we can talk about organizational structure, how you organize your organizations, how you market your businesses, and what is the management style that you utilize to manage each of those businesses into the overarching business. So those three questions, when we come back again, and I'll get with you off air as to when we can do this again, let's make that happen. But is there anything that you want to tell the audience before you leave?
Well, you can find me and all the different things that I do. I can put the link in here if you would like, and then you can share it, or let me see. I have a shall I do this? And this will kind of take you to all of my stuff, and whether you need, whether you're an author and you want a book done, or you're just interested in picking my brain, or, whatever, you can find me through there.
Okay, that sounds good. All right. Well, Miss Michelle, thank you so very much for your time. We appreciate the information you put out today. And as usual, we only talk to people that know what the hell they're talking about, because we ain't got time to waste time with people speculating and talking about what they think. So on that note, thank you so very much for coming on, giving us the information that certainly we hope will help someone. And we're out of here.